I'm going to tell you all about things that you're going to find super useful in Mexico. And by the way, if you saw last week's video, you know Laska is due for surgery soon. That surgery is tomorrow. So stick around until the end of the video and I'll give you an update on how that went for her. A few days ago, I made a post on the Tangerine Travels Facebook page where I was pretty annoyed because I went to an ATM and they gave me all 1,000 peso bills. And if you've traveled around Mexico, you know that a lot of times the 500 peso bills are hard enough to spend. Like if you try buying anything under 100 pesos with a 500 peso bill, people probably aren't going to have change. And if they do, you're going to make them mad. So I can't even imagine trying to spend a 1,000 peso bill in most places. And in that post, a lot of you jokingly said, well, you can send it to me, I'll find a way to spend it. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm sending those 1,000 peso bills to you by paying your bills here at a BBVA kiosk. Now, they better accept the 1,000 peso bills because they're the ones who gave them to me. But I actually like coming to BBVA to pay a lot of my bills because you can do so at their ATM kiosk for free. Unlike OXXO and most other places, there's no fee for paying your bills here. All right, Arturo and Armin both just got their bills paid at BBVA. The next service I couldn't live without is my Telmex fiber optic internet. I pay about $50 a month. I'm paying for the fastest speeds I can get. I get 500 megabits per second, so it's lightning fast and I can upload huge video files in seconds. It's incredible. I love it. But the $50 doesn't just give me access to the internet service. It gives me access to a couple streaming services, internet security, and even some other stuff. So it's a really great deal. And honestly, I could pay far less than $50 and still get really fast speeds. So there's a lot of great options for Telmex fiber optic. While I'm on the topic of Telmex, let's pay some subscribers' Telmex bills. Amy, you're up first. Let's put in the number. $587, exactly how much she said it was going to be. And Telmex is another site that accepts American cards, foreign cards, so I never have a problem paying with mine. I already have it in there. Boom! Amy, your bill is paid! That was fun. Let's pay another one. All right, Courtney, you're up next. She says her bill is going to be 349 pesos. That's exactly right. All right. Let's click pay. All right, Courtney, your Telmex bill is paid. Included with my Telmex internet service, I got the biggest, baddest Netflix package that's like Ultra HD on multiple devices. But in addition to that, I got 6 months free of this service called Star Plus. And even if it wasn't free, after knowing how useful this Star Plus service is, I would get it in a heartbeat. And I think my 6 months is almost up and I'm definitely going to continue subscribing because it's just like Netflix in that you get access to a whole bunch of movies and a whole bunch of TV shows. But in addition to that, you get access to a whole bunch of live sports. So every year I buy the package that's over $100 from NHL TV because I love hockey and I love watching my Coyotes. And on Star Plus, I get all of the hockey games from the US. And they're usually in English. Occasionally there's one in Spanish. I also get access to all the golf tournaments. Sometimes I like watching golf, but that one has been in Spanish every time I've watched it. And also I watched the Super Bowl through Star Plus. So it has just been so incredibly useful and I highly recommend it. And by the way, it's only like $5 or $10 a month if it's not included in your internet package. It's a killer deal. Another service you're definitely going to sign up for before coming to Mexico is Traveling Mailbox. This service gives you a US address that you can have all of your US mail sent to. And as soon as it arrives there, they open it, they scan it, they upload it, and they send you an email notifying you that you have new mail. It's a super valuable service. Like for example, when I have new credit cards or debit cards arriving, I have them sent to my traveling mailbox address. Then I forward them to my address in Mexico. They ship them via FedEx overnight. They get here super quickly, and it's just a really convenient way to replace those credit cards. Also, anytime I receive important documents, the digital version of that is in my account forever. And so I never have to worry about storing it away or anything like that. By the way, when I'm in Mexico, I want to have like a presence in the US in a tax-free state. And with traveling mailbox, I have an address in South Dakota, which is a state with no income tax. And it helps give me another layer of security and another layer of separation from Arizona. So Arizona doesn't end up coming after me for not paying state income tax when I haven't lived there in several years. So it's nice to have some sort of tie to a tax-free state. And to really do this, you not only want an address there through like a mailbox service, but you're probably also going to want to get your South Dakota driver's license. They make it really easy to do. And also to register your car there if you're keeping a car. And with car registration, that's also super easy to do. You don't even need to bring the car to South Dakota. You can do it online. By the way, if you're liking this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can do so for free with the click of a button. Laska, are you ready for surgery? Yeah, you ready to go? Okay. Laska's going in for surgery this morning, and right now we're doing a little pre-surgery prep. One service I find really useful is Junhan's water delivery service. And if you're not aware, most people in Mexico get their drinking water just like this. They get it in these big old garrafones. But if you have to like go to Oxxo or go to a grocery store to get these, they're really heavy to like bring into your car or haul into your house, or if you don't have transportation, to carry it all the way home. So it's really nice having this delivered to my house every single week. Depending on where you live in Mexico, you're going to have different water delivery options available, but I do know that Junhan's operates in many cities throughout the country. After I get the Junhan's water delivery, I then put it through this eco filter. This is a water filter, and the filter in here is made out of like natural elements. It's made from like mud and some other stuff. So it's kind of like it's filtering through the earth, and that helps get rid of any arsenic or lead or a bunch of other nasty stuff that could be left over in the water. This is probably a totally unnecessary step, but I do like the looks of this porcelain water filter. I think it looks much nicer on my counter than the plastic garrafon sitting here. All right, I wanted to give you guys a Laska update. She's in surgery right now. I'm feeling lots of emotions. I'm pretty scared. I almost started crying a few minutes ago, even though she's with a doctor I totally trust. You know, in last week's video, I went to the vet with her. They put her under, they ran some like diagnostics on her leg and found out she had a torn ligament, the ligament that's similar to the ACL in humans. I told you guys that it was going to be about $2,000 for the surgery she needed, and I told you that I was going to have to think about it. But what I didn't tell you was why I had to think about it. It wasn't just the money. Yes, the money is a big deal because $2,000 is a lot of money. However, it was also that my gut was telling me no. I didn't trust the doctor. I felt like they were too rough with her when she was under anesthesia. Like when they needed to move her, for example, they basically manhandled her to like flip her over, and I really didn't like that. And then when they went to give me the pricing, they told me it was going to be 40,000 pesos or about $2,000, but the price goes up in a week. And I felt like that was a sales tactic to try to get me to make a decision quickly, and I didn't like that either. And when we got home later that day and the anesthesia wore off, it was confirmed that they were really rough with her because Laska was in so much pain. She could barely stand even after the anesthesia was completely worn off, and she was clearly really uncomfortable. Well, thankfully, I got a recommendation for another doctor, a doctor that has come highly recommended by several different people who have had this same surgery. So I took Laska to him, and they were able to run all the same diagnostics here without putting Laska under. Yeah, Laska didn't like it, but she wasn't being hurt, and the tests were over pretty quickly, and they were able to confirm the same diagnosis that the other doctor did. And I just liked how they treated her a lot more here. I felt like this doctor was more honest. He's like, yes, she absolutely needs a surgery. However, don't be rushed to make this decision because this isn't an emergency by any means. So I felt good about being told that. But I wanted to get Laska this surgery as soon as possible because I want her to get back to living a normal life as soon as possible and be able to play and run and jump and go to the dog park again, things like that. Even though she's almost 12 and a half years old, she still has a lot of energy. She still acts like a puppy a lot of the time. So I scheduled the surgery as quickly as I could, and she's in surgery right now, and I will give you updates as soon as I have them. By the way, there's two different surgeries that Laska could have had for her ruptured ligament. The first is a TPLO surgery. This is the surgery that the first doctor wanted me to get. He said that she doesn't qualify for the TTA surgery because she's too heavy. However, she's only 40 pounds. She's very small for a husky. She's as small as huskies get. And I've been in communication with a total of 6 veterinarians who are familiar with these surgeries. And that one said that TPLO is my only option. A second one said that TPLO is probably the better option. And a couple said TTA is probably the better option. And then a couple said either is fine. Basically, the difference is I trust this guy and he does the TTA surgery. And also it's a whole heck of a lot cheaper. It was 13,000 pesos for the surgery, plus the cost of the titanium implants, which came to 6,000 pesos. So a total of 19,000 pesos versus 40,000 at the first doctor. By the way, the name of this doctor is Daniel. I'll put the direction of this place and his WhatsApp number on the screen here for you. His office is in the neighborhood of Querétaro called Lomas del Marquez. When I first came to Mexico, a service I found super useful was T-Mobile. Because the coverage was great in Mexico, there weren't any extra roaming charges or anything like that. However, I was paying $50 a month for that service, which I honestly thought was a pretty good deal at the time. And then like 3 months after moving to Mexico, I get a text or an email from them saying that they're kicking me off. So then I was like, oh crap, what do? I don't want to lose my phone number. And that leads me into my next tip for you, which is to use Google Voice to transfer your US phone number to them so you don't lose that number. I can make and receive phone calls from Google Voice at that phone number. And then if I get any voice messages, they just go straight to my email. Honestly though, I do find Google Voice a bit limiting. I think it's just user error though, and I don't know how to work it, but I have the app, the Google Voice app, and for whatever reason, I can't receive calls through the app. However, I can receive calls if I have the Google Voice desktop open. And I can also use Google Voice to make calls. And I find this super useful when I have to call my bank or credit card because it calls from my original US phone number so they immediately know it's me and there aren't any problems with that. And then if I ever need to receive a security code via call from a bank, well then I can just open Google Voice on my computer and then I receive that phone call, no problem, and I get that security code. That doesn't always work with other numbers. And you know the best part is, Google Voice is basically a free service. Aside from that $20 fee I had to pay to port my number from T-Mobile to Google Voice, I've never paid a dime for receiving text messages, getting voicemail straight to my email, making calls, receiving calls. It's all been completely free, so I highly recommend getting it. And although Google Voice is great for some reasons, it wasn't going to cut it for my Mexican cell phone service. It wasn't going to give me data or anything like that. So for my data and social media access and all of that, I got Telcel. And to start off on Telcel, you need to get a SIM card. You can buy a SIM card practically everywhere. I mean, for example, you can buy it in OXXO and they have 1 million locations. I started off getting the package that was 300 pesos or about $15 a month. However, I figured out that I could get away with the $200 a month package. And I mean, sorry, not $200, 200 pesos, or about $10. And for that, I get 2 or 3 gigabytes of data every month and unlimited social media, unlimited WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and maybe some others. But it's a really great deal. Telcel has awesome service, and I highly recommend it. And also something that's great is I can pay for my Telcel on their website. They have a really good website, and they take cards from the US. A lot of Mexican companies don't accept US cards on their website, so that's really nice. I just go on to telcel.com, I click to buy another paquete or a package, and I put my credit card info, and boom, I have that delivered straight to my phone, and I have another month's worth of data. And on the topic of phones and calling, I have one more suggestion, and that is the app CrowdVoice. As I'm learning how to use Google Voice more and be able to make calls with that and whatnot, CrowdVoice has become less important to me, but I still use CrowdVoice, I still like it, and what this app does, for $15 a month, it gives you 3 different phone numbers, and you can choose whether they're from Mexico, the US, or Canada, if I remember correctly. And you can use these phone numbers to receive calls, to make calls. And I find that really useful because with the Telcel phone service, after 4 years, I still have not figured out how to call the US. Heck, I haven't even figured out how to call many Mexican numbers. Like, I dial a lot of Mexican numbers, and then it gives me some message saying the call didn't go through. And we've asked this before on the channel, how to do this many times, and we've gotten a lot of people saying, oh, you just have to dial this number, this number, this number, and then the number you're trying to call. And I've tried, I think, every suggestion that I've ever gotten, but I still can't get it to work. So I don't know, maybe you can help me out with that. By the way, in the operating room for Laska surgery, there's a surgeon plus 2 assistants. They said the operation itself was only going to take an hour, but there was about an hour of prep time, and I imagine that there will be time for recovery and post-op stuff. She just got out of surgery. They said everything went well, and now they're going to take an x-ray to make sure everything looks good. They said it's going to take her about 4 more hours to wake up and be ready to go, but so far everything looks great. I feel much better. I still hate to see her like this, with a tube down her throat and everything, but it won't be like this much longer. While I'm waiting for Laska to wake her from surgery, I took the short walk down the road to this place called Luca Poki. It's really good. This is my first time here, but I'm definitely going to come back. I love this place. I looked up the place on Instagram, and as it turns out, they have 4 locations across the city, so that's pretty convenient. They actually have one pretty close to my house. If you want to learn Spanish, I love using Rocket Languages. It's a really great course, great value for your money. If you want to check it out and help out the channel in turn, you can go to TangerineSpanish.com. I highly recommend it. You can even start a no credit card required free trial to give it a trial run before you give them your credit card, obviously, because I said no credit card required, free trial. But in addition to Rocket Languages, there's also other great apps that I like using. For example, Memrise and Duolingo are great apps for building your Spanish vocabulary. I also like to watch free YouTube channels. For example, I love Butterfly Spanish for helping to learn Mexican Spanish. And I also love watching my friends over at Spanish and Go. They do some great videos as well. Something else I love that helps me out so much is a Charles Schwab checking account. They have an awesome checking account for people who travel international a lot or live abroad, although they technically don't allow you to get this account if they know you're living abroad, so you have to sign up for it while you're still in the US. But if you can get this account, there's not only no ATM fees worldwide, they also refund all ATM fees worldwide. There's no minimum balance, no monthly minimums or anything like that. So yeah, definitely check out Charles Schwab for a checking account. Another thing you're going to find yourself using all the time in Mexico is WhatsApp. If you're not familiar with it, it's a free messaging service, but everyone uses WhatsApp. Pretty much everyone you meet will give you their WhatsApp number. You text or call them on WhatsApp. Even businesses, if you want to contact their customer service, and I'm talking even big companies, it's often a WhatsApp number that you're messaging. And this is great for those of you who aren't fluent in Spanish because you can use a translator to message them in Spanish Spanish, they'll respond in Spanish, you can translate it to English, and easily get the service that you need even if you don't speak a word of Spanish. So that's really nice. Definitely download WhatsApp if you're coming to Mexico. By the way, I'm an affiliate for some of the companies I mentioned in this video. Many I'm not, but regardless of whether I'm an affiliate or not, I'm gonna put a link to them down in the description or comments below so you can easily click over there if any of these services interest you. Because Laska won't stop crying, I assumed she was in pain, but they told me that the painkillers they gave her are plenty sufficient so that she won't be feeling pain right now. However, the reason she's crying is because of the drug she was given, and now she's waking up and is confused about what's going on in the world. It took me a long time to sign up for this one, but another service I would never go without now that I use it is YouTube Premium. YouTube Premium gets me a total ad-free experience on YouTube, but not only that, it has other features that I use all the time. For example, you can download videos from the YouTube app and play them offline. So I do this a lot when I'm going out for a walk with Laska. W-A-L-K. With Laska, so I don't have to use up data while I'm out there. I do this before getting on a plane, so I have lots of videos that I can watch without needing data or any kind of internet. And in addition to that, it gives you access to YouTube Music, which gets you a total ad-free experience on millions of songs, kind of like a Spotify. So I find that super valuable. It's like $12 or $13 a month for the individual. However, you can buy a family plan for, I think, $18 or $19, and that covers up to 6 Google accounts. So I find the family plan really valuable if you have some people to share it with. Depending on where you live in Mexico, this next service is going to be with a different company or have a different name. But basically, in San Miguel de Allende, just like 45 minutes away from me, there's this service called Mini Express, and they give you an address in Laredo. You send your vitamins and supplements there to Laredo, Texas, and then they drive them to San Miguel, and you can pick them up at their office in San Miguel. That's a really helpful service if you want to buy something in the US and not pay international shipping fees and not have to worry about it getting lost in customs and dealing with all sorts of stuff like that. Or if you need to get your vitamins and supplements to Mexico. They have this service, I think, in every big expat enclave in Mexico. So whether that's San Miguel de Allende, Ajijic, Puerto Vallarta, you're probably going to be able to find one of these services there. Something else I use all the time in Mexico is a VPN. A VPN allows me to change my location virtually, so my website's turned back into English from Spanish, and also it gives me access to location-restricted content on various streaming services. If you'd like to check out my favorite VPN, you can go to tangerinevpn.com. We've now been at the vet for a little over 7 hours, and she's been out of surgery for, I think, 5 hours now or so, and they want to see her walking before we leave, and she was able to just stand up and take a couple steps for the first time, so we're seeing some progress. Okay. Another service I use all the time in Mexico is Wise. It allows me to transfer money to people or companies from my US bank account in dollars to their Mexican bank account in pesos, or any other bank account in any currency around the world. They make it super easy and the fees are pretty reasonable. I bought this table using Wise. I pay my rent every month with Wise. I pay my video editor to edit these videos using Wise. I use it all the time and I recommend you get it. Something else I find surprisingly useful is Costco.com.mx. So a Costco membership in Mexico is 500 pesos or about $25 versus the US it's like 60 or 65 or 70. I don't even know what it is anymore. But anyway, both the US and Mexico memberships give you access to all the Costco's worldwide. So a Mexico membership is just as valuable as a US one. And I do a lot of shopping on the Costco website here. It's all delivered straight to my house. A lot of times it prevents me from having to deal with heavy stuff. For example, I bought my mattress, this awesome Sealy Posturepedic mattress or something like that, on Costco for a very good price. Just be careful when you're shopping on Costco.com because sometimes some products are significantly more expensive than they are in store. So just watch that out. It's not always the case, but definitely pay attention to the prices. I just ordered my Uber to go pay some of your bills. And that reminds me, when coming to Mexico, download the apps Uber, Didi, and Indriver. These are taxi and ride-sharing apps, and they're going to help you out a lot throughout the whole country. If you're not familiar with it, OXXO is a convenience store, and they have a million locations around Mexico. And there's so many things you can do here. You can pay just about any bill. You can send cash to people. You can withdraw money from your Mexican bank account. All sorts of stuff. So I'm going to go in there and pay some more bills. ¿Estaría pagar unas cuentas, por favor? Okay.
¿Qué sería?
Easy?
Easy. Son 972 ya con la comisión.
Okay. Here there's a 13 peso commission.
¿Es 77?
Sí.
Ok, 403.
Okay.
597.
Ok, gracias. Y una tarjeta de Santander, por favor. 1000, por favor.
1000. Tiene una comisión de 12 pesos.
Oh, sí, claro. Gracias.
Así que te vaya muy bien.
All right, let's see who got their bills paid here. Fernando got his 959 peso internet bill paid. Carla got her 390 peso internet bill paid. And Rafael got 1,000 pesos paid on his Santander credit card. 3 more bills paid, and I got rid of those 1,000 peso bills. Well, this is a bummer. I think that Facebook post got reported for being a scam because Facebook has taken it down and now my account has violations. So I'm hoping I can get that reversed. But anyway, if you see another post like that on my Facebook, please don't report it as spam or a scam. It's not. It's me really paying your bills. It is now the next morning. Last night was so hard. Laska was in so much pain. She was crying and howling like I've never heard before. So I texted the veterinarian and he authorized an increased dosage of her pain medicine, so I gave her that. And not too long after, she settled down and wasn't so loud. Normally Laska sleeps right here on the bed with me, but not a night passes where she doesn't jump off and on the bed a couple of times. And since she's not allowed to jump at all after this surgery, I couldn't sleep up here without putting her in the kennel. So I moved the kennel next to the bed and I put her in it and locked her in there. And then ensued about an hour of howling and crying. And also, she's supposed to be wearing this cone the whole time. I can watch her during the day and make sure she isn't licking her wound, but I can't really sleep and continue to make sure that she isn't licking it. But I put this on her, I tried a few different times, and it was on her, but every time she wouldn't shut up. It was non-stop howling, non-stop crying, and then purposely banging her head against walls and things to try to get it off. So that wasn't working. I was trying to think of all sorts of things, anything I could do to make sure she wouldn't be licking her wounds during the night without wearing that cone. And one of the solutions I came up with was forced cuddles. So I was laying on the bed and I forced her to be right here next to me, and then I had the sheet over her covering her whole lower half of her body so she wouldn't be able to lick it, and then I was cuddling her tight so she couldn't move, and that worked for a couple of hours, but then she wasn't having it anymore and forced her way out. So then I was like, all right, what if I try cutting up a shirt that I don't wear and then wrapping it around her leg? So I did that, I tied it around her leg, and then she went crazy going after that. So I knew immediately that that wasn't going to work. So now I'm down one shirt. So at this point, it's probably like 2 a.m. I've gotten no sleep. And then I had the idea, why don't I take the mattress pad and all the blankets off the bed? So that's what I did. I just kind of ripped them off, put them on the floor here. So then I was like, then she can sleep in bed with me without having to jump up or down ever throughout the night. And I thought, okay, maybe if I can get her to sleep, then I can get some sleep myself. And sure enough, after she got on the bed, she fell asleep pretty quickly. And fortunately, she was sleeping on her right side, so even if she woke up, she wouldn't be able to lick the wound. So then finally, I was able to get some sleep as well, and from then on out, we both slept like babies. And thank goodness. There was much of the night last night where I thought I wasn't going to get any sleep at all. Oh, and I have some more good news. Yesterday, she wasn't putting any weight on the surgery leg, but as of this morning, she's walking on all 4 legs and it almost looks like normal walking some of the time. So that's great news, I think, and she's on the road to recovery. On the screen here is another video I made recently, but before you go, please subscribe to the channel and gong that bell so you get notified every time I release a new video, and I will see you on Saturday.